Hey guys, what's up? Stephanie, the English coach here from EnglishFulltime.com, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to speak English like a native speaker, and more specifically, how to sound like a native speaker, okay? So that when you speak English, people actually think that, oh wow, are you a native speaker? And maybe they're not sure because you speak English so well that you sound like a native English speaker. But obviously, since it's your second language or third or 10th, I don't know how many languages you speak, you're still going to mess up in certain areas with the grammar. It's just inevitable. But you can get to a point where you speak English so well that people might actually think you're a native English speaker. And I know because this has happened to me in Spanish. I learned Spanish. I started learning when I was 14 years old, and then I went to study Spanish in Argentina. I ended up living there for about like 4.5 years. And, I got to a point where people thought I was a native Spanish speaker. I mean, maybe they wouldn't think that I was a native Spanish speaker from Argentina. Sometimes they would. Actually, this is really funny. Native Spanish speakers that were like from Mexico or Spain, when they would hear me speak Spanish, they go, oh, wow, she's from Argentina. But the Argentine people, because they know exactly how their accent sounds, they would hear me and they would go, oh, are you from Costa Rica? Are you from Spain? Where are you from? And so it was really funny. So people really do think when I speak Spanish, a lot of them think that I am a native Spanish speaker. Okay, so you can achieve this with English. One, I want you to know that that's possible. But there are a few things that you're going to have to do in order to achieve this, and you may have to change the way you think about English. Okay, so the first thing you can do to start sounding more like a native speaker is focusing on phrases that we use in English, that native speakers use. So rather than focusing on individual vocabulary words, focus on phrases and putting phrases together to make sentences. Now, everything that I'm going to be telling you guys in these videos is based on my experience of going to Argentina and going from being like basically, I spoke Spanish with a very neutral accent, and my vocabulary was very neutral. Previously, I had only learned Spanish with grammar books and, in classrooms and stuff, but my Spanish was very neutral. I didn't sound like a native Spanish speaker, so I'm basing all of this on my own personal experience, okay? And one of the first things that I realized when I went to Argentina is that people would use the same phrases over and over and over and over again. So I just started adopting the same phrases that people from Argentina would use. And this means that I also had to drop phrases from my vocabulary. There were certain words and phrases that I learned in my grammar classes where the teacher said, hey, you can say it like this. And then I went to Argentina and I was like, whoa, no, they don't say it like this. I need to change my vocabulary and change the phrases that I use to sound more like a native speaker. So that's one of the first changes that I made, okay? And then I realized that the intonation in Argentine Spanish is different from the intonation in other types of Spanish. And the same is true for English. There's, different accents, as you guys know, UK, Irish, American, Southern American. There's so many different accents in English, but what you'll notice if you focus on a particular accent is that the intonation is generally always the same. The way that we ask questions, the flow of our words, the way that we express ourselves, the way that we share ideas. You have to start thinking about English like music, okay? Music has rhythm, it has patterns, it has flow, and you're gonna start to hear that, okay? And I want you to pay attention to that, and you have to adopt those patterns of intonation, and you have to speak with those patterns. Now, a lot of people never achieve this, and they never do it because it forces you out of your comfort zone. Now, in your native language, you have patterns too, and those patterns are so deeply ingrained into your mind, into your way of speaking, that not using those patterns and using new patterns, it feels intimidating, and sometimes we can even feel embarrassed, but you're going to have to get over that, and you're just going to have to start using the patterns that native English speakers use. This means that your mouth and your tongue and your throat are going to move in completely different ways than they move in your native language, okay? You're going to have to get comfortable with this. okay? I noticed this when I was in Argentina, and I was just like, okay, if I really want to sound like a native Spanish speaker from Argentina, then I'm going to have to change the way that I speak Spanish, change the way that I ask questions, change the way that I make statements or commands, etc., so that I sound more like a native speaker. Now, the last tip is that you're going to have to learn our pronunciation, okay? You can't take the vowel sounds, for example, from your native language and then try to speak English with those vowel sounds, okay? So maybe you speak a language that's very nasal. You're going to have to learn to speak English without being super nasal, okay? Because if you do that, that's when native speakers can hear your accent, okay? When you're taking sounds from your native language that don't exist in English, and then you're incorporating them into your English speaking, okay? We can hear your accent because you're not using our sounds, you're using sounds from your own language. So again, you just have to think about language as being music. Listen to the music. I was in choir for several years in elementary school and in high school. I also learned a few instruments. I didn't get super great or anything, but I did learn how to play the violin, the saxophone, the piano, and that helped me develop an ear for music. And a lot of times I was honestly too lazy to learn how to read the notes and play the notes. So I would play by ear. I would just listen to something and then I would try to play it back myself. You can do the same to sound like a native speaker. Listen to the way that I speak English, okay? Practice shadowing my videos if you want to. Just put them on replay and just say what I say as I say it, read the subtitles, do whatever you have to do. You're going to notice that I use the same patterns all the time when I speak, okay? I use the same phrases, the same intonation patterns, the same type of pronunciation, okay? And by focusing on this, you're really going to start sounding more like a native speaker. And I have one more final bonus tip for you, okay? If you really want to sound like a native speaker, you're going to have to focus on a specific kind of English from a specific region, okay? Now, in order to achieve this, this might mean that you're going to have to tune out certain regions, okay? Certain, like let's say you're following a bunch of, native English speakers from the United States. You're also following some from the UK and Ireland. Well, having and hearing all that English, it's a good thing because you're learning how to understand so many different types of English. But if you are really trying to focus on sounding like a native speaker, you may have to tune out other native speakers from other regions for a while you focus on the dialect that you want to speak with, okay? Because by focusing on one dialect, your ear is going to become accustomed to just that dialect. You're going to learn how to speak with that, okay? And you're going to improve a lot faster than if you're learning and listening to so many different types of English. And I know this also because previously when I was studying Spanish, in the United States, I had teachers from Spain, from Argentina, from Mexico, and that's why my Spanish was neutral. That's why I didn't sound like a native speaker, because I was just, speaking, I was learning from so many different kinds of native speakers that my Spanish was just a neutral Spanish. So again, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you have to focus on a specific kind. And when I was in Argentina, that's when I really, really learned how to sound like someone from Argentina, because I was I was hearing one type of Spanish all the time. So again, if you want this for your English, you're going to have to hear one type of English all the time until you feel like, yeah, okay, now I finally feel like a native speaker from California or the UK, etc. So anyways, I hope this helps. Go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what kind of dialect you are focusing on for improving your English, and if you have any other tips to add. If you also have gotten to a place where you finally sound like a native speaker in English, let us know what your tips are and share them in the comments so that other people can learn from you as well. Anyways, that's all for this video. Thanks guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe too if you're new here so you get more videos from me. And also go ahead and check out the description because I often include extra tips there or resources or links to other things that I think you might find helpful. So go ahead and check that out. So for more English stuff from me, you can also go ahead and follow me on Facebook and check me out at my website, englishfulltime.com. All the links are in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.